Turn that damn roof on!
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome in Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon, as it is a Remember Wednesday here presented by Fayetteville Flyco. So we'll get into a little bit of our Remember Wins. You can also do that as well, because we are going to do a little vibe check according to the chat. That's all about Basis Health. We'll also have a Who's Our Heavy Hitter presented by HD Roofing. And your Alumni Hall question of the day, do some SEC updates, Arkansas updates, a lot of things to get to. And it's a Wednesday, so it's always fun. But guys, how are we feeling on a hump day here today on Inside Arkansas Live?
Better than I felt yesterday, man. That's for sure. Things are happening. You said the word update like 10 times there, and you're right. We had plenty of those, man. So it's better than, you know, what people were saying to us. Like, man, it'll be cool when you guys stop talking about the hypotheticals and it's something that actually happened. Somebody commented on the show afterwards yesterday. Andrew was telling me, it was basically like, how about no more shows until there's actually news? There's news, baby. So we're back. You're stuck with us. I'm doing good.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Borderline overcompensated yesterday. Like, we've been wanting to, we've been saying, hey, we can't wait to go live. Come on, make us go live. And then it was just back to back. But the timing actually worked out pretty well. We were able to cram it all in before the baseball game. That was clutch. And yeah, the vibes were very good yesterday. And now we get to that gives us a little spark for at least the next few days before people start getting restless again.
Did you get you a discount, Glizzy?
3 of them.
Okay, good. Good.
Yeah, and save money while doing it too. But yeah, we'll have a lot to talk about with not only just basketball, but baseball, even some football, because there are some things that have been going on with the Razorback football program. But as was mentioned, and of course, Pot at the Palace went live a couple of times yesterday and talking about the new additions to the Razorback team. It's just amazing how two players, and I know that they're high caliber players and they're ones that people are excited, but just the news of two players changes a whole lot when it comes to everyone's vibe and feeling about the roster and the team and everything like that. I know that there's still some possibilities that could be happening, and I'm talking about possible departures. I'm not saying they will, but there's always that possibility in the college landscape. And you know that there's going to be at least a few more additions, but it's amazing how I know for people you guys have talked to and just the feeling of Razorback fans, you're always going to have those one or two little Debbie Downers. But at least with these two additions of Pringle as well as Ewin, suddenly it makes it all feel a whole new, different vibe. It just makes it feel like, all right, and hey, now everything's going great. We're cooking. There's no problems. What's going to stop us? We can get any player. And that's kind of the key of what this is all about with the transfer portal and kind of what's been happening. It's just like, hey, it's just a matter of when it happens, it opens everything up. But now it's a matter of, okay, so who can be those final additions? Making sure you don't have any more subtractions, but who can be those final additions to really set you over the edge? I don't know exactly how many wins this team would have if they were to start the college basketball season today, but it's at least a roster that has familiarity, has some experience, has some raw talent, and has at least a feeling of a team that could make it to the NCAA tournament, maybe do some damage in there. But it's just nice to have the landscape at least settled in until you start building in these final key pieces at the end of the day.
Well, I don't care what anybody says, size matters. And Arkansas had none of it until yesterday. So for me, we can do the thing where we say, you got to be patient and trust the plan with Cal, and he moves in silence and he moves slow and don't worry about it while everybody's picking folks up. You can say it all you want, but people are going to have a hard time with it when you don't have a single big man on the roster. None, zero, nada, finito. And all of them are going elsewhere. Like Michigan's getting every big man that hits the portal, and Kansas is getting their guys. Auburn gets their guys, and you're just sitting here like, we don't have any. Like some of these other teams are going out and getting their third, fourth big man, and we got nothing going on over here. So I know that was driving some people nuts. And yeah, so absolutely, it's getting two guys is great. Making a couple splashes and just like announcing your presence finally in portal season is awesome. But doing it at that position, I think really has Razorback fans, to your point, John, just feeling a lot better about where everything is at now, because you can see a depth chart. Like you can pencil somebody in at every position without it being weird. And now, and I'm probably lying to myself, we'll see what the comments and what the feedback on the Pod at the Palace looks like. But to me, it's like you can be just a little bit more confident and excited and, anxious about what's to come, as opposed to freaking out and worried and, some of the doom and gloom, because really, like you said, the foundation, the core is there for you to have a pretty darn good team. And now it's about putting the cherry on top and getting this thing to what looks like a Final Four contender. I think they're a piece or two away from that right now, but you got a nice thing going, and it feels good to have a couple big guys to be able to talk about.
Yeah, size certainly does matter. And with that size comes with a little bit of stability. It's something you can count on. And now you just look at this roster. It's not 100% a finished product. There's still work to do. The job's not finished. But this roster has a pretty high floor. You've got some playmakers in the backcourt. You've got a big-time wing in Carter Knox. Guy in Billy Richmond you think will take a next step. You got Trevin back. You got some veteran presence there. Now you have two big men. You have a little bit of a rotation there, a depth chart, like you said. This team has a pretty high floor as it stands today. We can argue about the ceiling, and we'll see if how Arkansas rounds out this roster to determine really how this roster shapes up, if it's top 5, top 10, whatever. But I think at this point, we realize where this is headed. I think getting those two pieces off the board right there allows this fan base to kind of exhale and understand, okay, there's no dire situation here. Now it's just a matter of if they round it out completely.
Well, what I will give some Razorback fans credit, at least I haven't seen it to that point either. Usually when it comes to how they handle any transfer portal pops or anything of significance, it's kind of like, okay, so we got Ewin, we got Pringle. What's next? Like, they just don't even care about anything else. It's just like, okay, we got those. Great. Yeah, I've been wanting it. I've been dying for it. I've been trying to get it. We got it. Okay, what's next? And it's almost like you don't really let it set in on how good that these players are going to be, or the type of contribution they're going to be able to add and the impact they're going to be able to have. And maybe that was the payoff of how long you went without having any players getting added, is because you do get to say and almost appreciate it a little bit more, where instead of getting so used to like, well, one and then another and then another and then another, it's more like, okay, you're going to have to sit there and you're going to have to wait, and you're going to have to wait a long time. It's like smoking a meat. You could throw it in the air fryer, but it's not going to be as good, or you can just wait. And then once the payoff's there, you get to enjoy it a little bit. You get to enjoy yourself a little bit, and it makes it all worthwhile. So to me, it was worth the wait. I know they still got some things to do, but now that the wait has been over and it's been lifted, it's kind of just like it feels like just a huge burden off your shoulders and off fans' shoulders. And I know it's off of Cal's, but we'll never know the details of what went behind it. But I would be curious to know how it all went down. What the timeline was really like with these two particular players. Was it on the radar from the get-go? Was it second, third, fourth options? Were they having to go back and forth, where there's a lot of negotiations happening? Like, I would just be curious to know what the entire process was like getting these two individuals, where they had probably offers to many other schools and at least had some contact. But what was it about Arkansas that finally made the deal come through and made them say, all right, this is where I'm going to do it. This is when I'm going to announce it. And we're going to announce it an hour and a half apart.
Yeah, I don't know about the double announcement thing. I still don't think that Pringle was necessarily expected to be announced before Ewin was there. That was interesting, the way that went down. But both these guys have been presumed to be Hogs for a couple weeks now. So like it's not like these were new names that jumped out at us that we were too overly surprised about. In fact, we've been hearing about it for so long that Arkansas pretty much had it locked up or whatever. I know some people use the term silent commit, and I just don't subscribe to that in portal season, especially. If you're a silent commit, that means you're entertaining other offers. That means you're still open for business. So to me, that just says you're in great shape to land a guy or whatever. But they got it done. And I would say after that initial rush of big men, like with Arkansas, we know that they were pursuing Morez Johnson out of Illinois, for example, one of the best big men who hit the portal early, and it moved really quick, trying to sneak him in on a visit before that dead period started. You didn't get him in there in time, and then he popped to Michigan right away. So that one, Flory Badunga, I don't think that necessarily went as far as some people might have said that it did. But really it was after that. And once you got into the dead period, pretty much known that Arkansas was in the driver's seat for these two guys. And I'm glad that they finally got it done, for sure.
It happened yesterday, I think, on the show, where Curtis gave like a lot of really good actual information, intel, informed, takes on the situation and accurate representation of what's going on. And then I followed it up with kind of my shot in the dark. And I think I want to do that again here today. I wonder, Curtis, if Pringle is the guy that, like you said, we the timing of the announcement was weird, but we kind of knew all along that he was a heavy lean towards Arkansas. I wonder if they knew they had him, if they wanted, and they just needed to clear it with Ewin real quick. They were like, hey, we got this other big guy. Is it cool if we bring him along too? And then once Ewin was like, you know what? Yeah, sure. Bring Nick Pringle. I don't care. They gave him the okay. And then Nick Pringle was like, let me tell Matt Zenitz or whoever it was that first reported it.
Which is wild, by the way. But
been a big week for Matt Zenitz in Arkansas.
I'll say. That's crazy to me, man. Like very much the football guy, and breaking the Arkansas basketball John Calipari transfer portal splash. I was like, what? When I saw it, it took me a second. Then obviously, everybody like tipped in and everybody else had it, but I was like, Zenitz, really? Like from 24, like not Bossy or Travis Branham or any of those guys. That was kind of bizarre to me, but hey, whatever.
Zenitz crushes it on the random Arkansas pickups. He was doing it in football portal season. We had like 20 Zenitz reports, so we were like, oh, there we go.
Yeah, he knows somebody over there for sure.
Yeah, I think John Calipari's entire, thing with Arkansas, or maybe it's just in general, but especially at Arkansas, is just like, hey, you never know who's going to break. It's going to be the unlikely people that know all the stuff about it. Whether it's Westmore actually breaking the story or if it's Zenitz or whoever it is. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun 24 hours or close to 24 hours of having actual like players and rosters to play around. It's like having toys that you can, you're collecting the entire edition of it and you finally have it all together and it's coming together nicely. And so, but yeah, if there, whenever and however there'll be those new portal pops, and whenever it does happen, we'll be sure to go live here at Inside Arkansas and have some more fun with it too, because it is a fun time. And it's also fun seeing like other schools, not to name names, but other schools whiffing a little bit and not getting the players that maybe they thought they should or would or that fit perfectly, and then to see the the kind type of turnaround of like, well, it's his attitude and his mentality. It just wouldn't have fit in here. It doesn't happen that way. So it's just nice to be in the champagne room while the poors are over here freaking out about not getting the players they wanted. It's a nice change of pace if you're a Razorback fan. So
yeah, it is indeed, and it's what we it's what I always talk about when it just cracks me up when BBN starts getting in my mentions, and it's a thing, and I've embraced it from the beginning, like the back and forth with the rivalry, but it's just funny to me because I think I understand the ebbs and flows of how this thing works. Like Kentucky killing it early in the basketball season, and we were just we just kind of had to eat it for a while. There wasn't really much that you could say, but you always knew like eventually it was going to turn around, and then it did, right? And it was the same thing in portal season. They just had a different approach, and they went out and started getting some guys, and you're right, they've whiffed on a number too, including Lamar Wilkerson there. And it's just you kind of wait. And so when people are screenshotting me and everything, I just said, hey, you do what you got to do right now, embrace it. But when the coin flips over and it's our turn, don't get mad and don't get salted when it gets thrown back your way. And that had just happened to be yesterday with them missing, Arkansas picking up a couple guys, and lo and behold, they're all mad, they're all salty, they're all pissed. You just got to take this stuff in stride, man.
As someone who loves himself to do a premature victory lap, I know one when I see it. I know a premature victory lap, and we obviously, like you said, got this during the season where you're like, hey, Arkansas's 0-5, yeah, we'll just eat it while we have to, but it's not going to take that much to flip to turn the tide here. It's going to take one game, and it took one game to turn the tide. And we said this all along during this portal cycle. Arkansas, it's not like they need 7 guys, so it's not like it's going to take all like 4 or 5 straight announcements for our, entire viewpoint of this whole thing to change. All it took was really Nick Pringle. The vibes were already restored then. And then, of course, we knew we had a good inkling that Ewin was going to be on top of it. But it's like, it didn't take much to get that excitement back. And that was because of the retention Arkansas had. And so we knew there was kind of less pressure to begin with. You got 2 important ones out of the way. Now Arkansas can go deep sea fishing, big game hunting, whatever terminology you want to use for their last couple spots.
Well, here's what I love. Like, this was a great example of, they say that it just means more in the SEC. Like, this season, off season, portal season, however, is a great example of one of many of just, yes, what matters is on the court. That's number one thing, and on the field, what winning does and everything. But if you're a school like Arkansas, like Kentucky, like anybody, even if it's just a daily thing, you want to win the days. You want to win days. You want to win weeks. You want to win seasons. And winning a day means, hey, we got portal guys and you didn't. We won. We won today. That's all that matters. Like, yeah, everyone knew Arkansas was going to get players. We kept saying it. But I think Arkansas fans seeing other people get players like, hey, we want to win a day. We want to have a day where we win, and then we can be like, oh, yeah, who'd you get? Oh, nobody today? Wow, that sucks for you. You know, it's a matter of everybody, even if it's pointless stuff, winning the day. Like I saw Jeff Borzello put out his newest updated, way too early top 25 for college basketball next year. Arkansas is now one spot ahead of Kentucky. And I look at the mentions and the replies. All it was Razorback fans just being like, cope with Bo. Yep. It's like that early top 25 thing means absolutely nothing. But it doesn't matter because it means more. Everyone wants to win the smallest and most pointless of victories. And that's what makes Arkansas sports, SEC, however you want to put it, so much fun, is because of stuff like that. I love that
man.
stuff.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I saw that too today, and I thought it was funny. I always get a kick out of those things for sure. I mean, just like I've got a decent idea of like who's going where and stuff, but I haven't sat down and done a bunch of research to put together my own way too early top 25 or whatever. Personally, I don't see Arkansas's roster as a top 10 roster right now. Can they get there with a couple more pieces? Yeah, they can, but by God, I'll blast that stuff out there on Twitter and everything else, just like all the rest of us, because it's exactly what you want to see, man. It's good publicity. You like to be back in the spotlight after you felt like you were dormant for a few weeks. So it was a good day. And the follow-up on today, also a good day. I'm happy, man. We're buzzing a little bit.
I think seeing some of those early lists, and I agree, like mean literally nothing. And they never wind up no one's ever looked back and been like, you know who nailed it with their preseason top 20? Yeah. They're way too early preseason. They're the preseason top 25. Like it certainly is going to change and fluctuate. And I agree with your assessment, Curtis, that this is not quite a complete product here, but it kind of reminds you everyone else is kind of that same way. You know, we're always saying, oh, we need 2 wing shooters, we need 2 big men, we need 2 point guards, we need all this. You know, who has that right now is literally no one. Like right now, there's a lot of teams out there with 6 guys on their roster, 5 scholarships or whatever. They haven't even gotten a big man. You know, there's a lot of teams that are still kind of trying to formulate their roster as well and are a piece or 2 away. And so, again, it's not even really worth it to really rank them and really compare these things, but that's what we do. It's early victory lap season. It's just a rotating cast. That's what the offseason is, a rotating cast of teams dunking on other teams for nothing happening.
Yeah, and that's what I love so much, is just the comments and the thing that dunking on each other and all of it coming down to I even saw it. I swear to you, I should have screenshotted it, but there was, and it wasn't Arkansas, but it was some other fan base fight with another fan base over a player that ended up committing to a school, whatever it is. And it was literally somebody saying like, oh yeah, you're terrible ass, sucks to suck, blah, blah, blah. And this other people being like, dude, our guy that we just signed 3 days ago had 14.7 points per game last year. You just signed a guy with 13.6. You tell me which is better. And it's like, my God, like, is this really the approach? And it's like, point averages in different conferences at different schools with different coaches. Our guy had a point more, so therefore we win. You lose. See ya. Like, man, it's all of that. And that's what makes the excitement and the build up and everything just so much more fun. It's so much more fun. So, yeah, that's actually a perfect segue. We'll get to your chats here in a second, folks, but I think it's a perfect segue for Remember Wednesday here on Inside Arkansas Live, presented by Fayetteville Flyco, which still got plenty of the Rod Hog apparel that you can check out at fflyco.com. If you go there, you can see all the different things they have to offer for all the outdoorsmen, and especially the fishermen and the huntermen. It's not a word, but I made it one. But they're out there, and they are a based company here in Fayetteville, where if you go to fflyco.com, you can get 20% off your first order. Actually, all your orders at Hogs by 20, using that promo code. Hogs by 20, get 20% off. We appreciate Fayetteville Flyco being a part of it here at Inside Arkansas Live and Inside Arkansas each and every Wednesday for Remember Wednesday. So for my Fayetteville Flyco, Remember Wednesday, guys, I want to throw it to you. Remember when spring football was actually maybe more popular and more talked about than this time of year in basketball? You guys remember that? Because right now, and I'm not even just saying for Arkansas, I feel like it's that way almost across college sports right now, as more people are focused in on the college transfer portal basketball side of things than really spring football. Am I the only one in that, or do you guys feel that way too?
I mean, I definitely feel that way. I'm sure I guess a handful of places still where they're just completely engulfed in, whatever 4-minute video clips are coming out of spring practices and stuff. But this is different, man. I mean, it's unregulated free agency, for college basketball. It comes right off of the heels of March Madness, which, it's like you kind of have it in your mind because everybody watches the NCAA tournament and the Final Four and all of that. And so you're like, oh man, my team, I really want them to get there. And then as that's on your mind, then you can just go pick a bunch of great players to join your roster to make you really feel like you have a chance. It's the perfect combination. And it drives me nuts, trying to follow it and cover it and everything, but it is really cool. And it's surprising to me that it's trickled down now even to SEC country, where in a lot of places people are just more dialed into basketball transfer portal than they are spring football. I just, that is crazy to me. Take it somewhere else, sure. ACC or whatever, sure. But here, SEC country, that's crazy, man.
The biggest myth of all time is that people that like the transfer portal is going to make more people or like less people care about college sports. It's been proven not true. Like, this is the most watched college basketball tournament ever, which, by the way, it's hard to break TV records these days because there's so much on streaming and pirating and all that and people watching on their phones. But this is the highest viewed basketball thing ever. Like you said, there's more attention on the portal than there is the actual season in some sports and with some cases. We all kind of say, oh, this is bad and we all hate it, but we all can't get enough of it. We're all dialed in, seeing what's going to happen and letting our imagination run wild. And honestly, like everybody always compares it to pro sports as a negative, but that is what makes pro sports cool. Like, that's what a lot of people like about it, and kind of the frenzy of it all. And oh my God, I can't believe that guy went there. One of the most memorable days of my life is when Kevin Durant signed with the Warriors on July 4th, and we were all like, "Screw that guy!" We did what we're doing to Nico Iamaleava right now. We were doing that to KD back in the day. That's a fun part of sports, and it also lends itself to, like John was saying, the fan bases doing the crazy. It lets the battles be year round. And so it's like, it never ends. And I think people just love it.
Well, and I think to add to that, here in the SEC, for instance, everyone's like, oh, the SEC is a football conference, blah, 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 which I agree. Yes. But what the SEC specifically is, and that's the country that we're covering with Arkansas being in the SEC, they're about success. Like, the reason that the baseball side of things in the SEC is so much higher than everybody is because of the amount of success that baseball has. And when an SEC school is having success in a particular sport, they're going to care a lot more. I always like to make jokes about like Tennessee baseball, for instance, like, oh yeah, they just realized they had a program. Well, why did they? Because they were good, and they have been good. And now that they're good, they're staying good and they care more. It's the same thing with everything. And that's what happened with basketball. It's been coming for a while, but especially this past year, the SEC was good all year long with big time teams, and all these fan bases started caring a lot more because their team was good. And they saw these other teams in the conference are good. Right. Well, we want to be better than that team. And it just manifested into this where now, it's about because we care about when the SEC's here, but it goes back to the whole thing. It just means more. The SEC fans, no matter the sport, are going to care and be more passionate. And it's going to make a lot more interesting things happen when everybody's involved, because you're seeing Bama fans and Auburn fans, Kentucky fans, Arkansas fans. You got A&M fans. You even have Florida fans. You have Georgia fans. You got everybody fighting over these players like crazy. And you just kind of sit back. You're like, this is ridiculous. I feel like I'm in football mode for the SEC 10 years ago, 12 years ago, where it just every single thing mattered. Who had the most attendance at the spring game? Well, we had 90,000 people. Well, it's like, well, we had 85. No, you didn't. I saw empty places. It's like, who cares? But that's what people have become. It's become the new thing of it doesn't matter, but man, it really matters. It really matters to people. So yeah. I'm glad though. I'm glad it's this and not spring football. Nothing against spring football, but I never really cared for spring football. And I feel like this actually goes a lot further, means a lot more than, having more of an impact as far as transfer portal stuff goes in basketball than it does spring football practices. Just doesn't mean anything.
Like it's so, it's just so far removed from the actual season spring football is that like, it's cool to see, get a first glimpse at the new guys and everything. And that's great. But then you have the entire summer and then all the fall camp and everything before you play an actual game. So it's hard to get too fired up for that, but it's easy enough when it's the only show in town to pay attention to. And so, like people are irritated or whatever that the college athletics landscape has gotten to where it is. But it's also because of that we're able to celebrate this time of year. Like, remember when NIL and the free transfer waivers just weren't a thing? It was only a few years ago, but hell, when Eric Musselman started, he was going out getting dudes out of the transfer portal, and it was like, all right, well, we'll be really excited about these guys in a year, unless we can get Connor Vanover a hardship waiver for whatever, so he can play immediately. You used to have to do that stuff unless it was like a graduate transfer. So that's just, it's crazy to me, the difference. Like, it's so stark from just, it was like 2019, 2020 or whatever to right now, which is, dude, not only can you just transfer wherever you want, whenever you want, as many times as you want, and it doesn't matter, and get paid to do it. Now we're seeing guys who literally have zero eligibility. Like, there's no case for them to have any eligibility left. Like, you've been in college for 7 years, you played 5 years, but I tell you what, go ahead and enter the transfer portal and we'll just see if we can figure it out. Oh, you started at JUCO in 2018. Sure. Get those years back. Oh, you've already played 4 years of college basketball. Well, we're talking about just gifting everyone a fifth. So hang in there and make yourself available. It's absolutely nuts, man, how this has gone. And it just adds to the excitement for sure.
Yep. Sorry, I just wanted to see how long it took Andrew to stay unfrozen, and now he's back with us.
Well, I was trying to get myself back in. This time it was my browser that was like messing up, and I was like, I exited, went back in, but like there was 2 Andrew Ellis's in the studio. Did y'all notice that?
We did. Yeah, that was my best filibuster I think I've ever had. Because I was waiting and was trying to just continue going and going and going.
See, and how I was the opposite. I wanted you to end so I could just sit there in silence and just look at Andrew's frozen face for a second.
Well, dude, you know what's messed up is I heard every single word of what Curtis was saying, but my entire computer was frozen, and I was just like, oh god, and I wouldn't even let me minimize, do anything. I had to do the Control-Alt-Delete.
Yeah. When I saw you pop up again at the bottom of the studio, I was like, "Oh, this is a real one right here. This is not just that temporary pause."
Yeah, so. No, this wasn't even an internet thing. This was just like my entire computer was. It's how your computer sounds like it's about to take off in an airplane. That's what I was getting going on, and I was like, "Oh no."
Yep.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I didn't know if I needed to follow up on Curtis's whole transfer portal thing, but I mean, he said it all, but I do think it's just the year long being able to dunk on other fan bases is really the best part about it all. And, it's just good stuff.
Yeah. Because how often does Arkansas in really any major sport get to dunk on other sport teams in the off season? They're not doing it.
What we never did.
In football.
We didn't do it over spring practice. That's not a thing that we did. No. Even when spring practice was in its heyday, it was really hard to go to your buddy and be like, yo, you see Jarius Wright in spring practice, bro? That never really was a thing we were doing. We just it just informed our experience, and, that was about it.
Yeah, it was about attendance. To me, that was the only thing that really stood out for spring practices. Who had the most attendance? Because I think it was year 2015 maybe, or 16 at Arkansas, and Jeff Long and everybody was like, no, we had 50,000 people at the spring game. Like, no, you didn't. You really did not have 50,000 people. And there's nobody counting unless you're talking about the yellow vests that are just sitting there, which they're not. They're barely alive, much less counting. So it's like, you're not walking in there. That was the only thing I felt like people actually got up in arms about in spring practice. But like I said, this means more. Yeah. This is actually legitimate stuff that you can look at and address, and actually not just throw crap against the wall and see what fits. You actually have something where it's like, yeah, I'm basing my belief on how good we're going to be on something that's actually real and going to be there and going to be a part of the team next year. That's what it's about.
Well, and the spring game's not televised or whatever this year. So just so everybody knows, John and Andrew are going to be, grinding it out, taking stats, making notes of all the highlights and everything. And I've been assigned to do a head count of everyone who's there. So I'll be giving you guys official attendance whenever we report back to you afterwards. So be on the lookout for that.
Curtis is going to bring his own, the little thing you have to walk through that has all the little different forks in it. Curtis is going to bring one of his own and make people walk through them as they're walking in.
Mm-hmm. He's going to have one of those.
Or what we should do? We should set up a little toll booth right in front of Razorback Road, where when people enter the road, we know, and so it's like we
head
make
count
all the money. It's a great thing.
Got one of the little clickers.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I was like, Curtis is just doing all those things. I'm like, yeah, he's gonna be balls deep in boredom. Is what's gonna be.
I need you guys to help me out for a second though, because I have a Remember Wednesday topic to throw around. I was thinking about it right after I said nobody's going to remember anybody's way too early projections. I started just thinking about it myself, and I was like, there's actually a handful that I can really remember of like the way too early. Like I can remember John Fanta, picked Arkansas to win the national championship. Was that literally the year with Muss and them, like Tremont Mark? He picked that team to win the title.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember Bleacher Report did a way too early power rankings for college football after the 2011 season and had Arkansas number 1. And this was pre Bobby Petrino firing, but still, like I remember that in like February of that year during spring practice being like, we might be the number 1 team for a week to start the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Amazing how those things usually just stop. Yeah. How about this? Just stop picking Arkansas to win the national championship and things, don't do that because it doesn't happen. And in fact, most cases, it goes completely opposite. It's so far from even getting close to happening. So let's just stop doing that. But I'll tell you what we're going to start doing. We're going to start getting into the chat. So it's a little vibe check for all of you, presented by our friends over at Basis Health. It's changing the way healthcare is delivered by providing those mobile medical visits to the comfort of your very own home. Again, they come to you. You don't have to worry about waiting in a doctor's office. They will help you out when it comes to your urgent care, primary care, IV hydration. They do it all. And it's a very forward thinking way of doing things. And we're very happy to have them on part of Inside Arkansas each and every day here. So it's Basis Health. They are there when and where you need them the most. You can learn more at basishealth.org today. All right. So to get to some of your chat, shout out to our guy Logan for, this is worthy of it, of course. But you get John Cena if you give us the red super chats. So, appreciate all y'all do. Hey, appreciate you, Logan, and all you do for us. So thank you. Appreciate
Logan's my guy, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Logan's got to get back to this neck of the woods soon.
Yeah,
I'm gonna you will, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say I hate being this guy, and I'm not saying this needs to be his nickname, but you know how so many people, maybe it's just me, have the nickname Big Country. I feel like if there was a man that would actually be like a fitting nickname for Big Country, it's Logan because he's big and he's country.
How are you going to say that right after Reese Robinette's breakout game?
No.
Like literally right after Big Country, who, by the way, he actually has been demoted from Big Country, had 2 walkout songs last night, neither of which were country music.
Yeah, that's a tough look.
You're just not Big Country anymore. All of a sudden now you get a few hits and you're getting out of your roots. I don't like that. Yeah. So Logan, I guess, is the new Big Country.
Yeah. Well, and also I have a guy that I know that's a friend of my friend. His name, they call him Big Country, and I don't think he was actually Big Country, but still, yeah. You need to stop having people be called Big Country that aren't Big Country. Have the big countries actually be big countries. That's enough of that stuff. Anyways, super chats. Appreciate you, Chris. He says the football team at Arkansas is cheeks. Arkansas is a basketball state, and they are on the brink of doing great things with Cal. Thank you, Chris.
These are 2 correct statements. I fear.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go as far as cheeks though.
Cheeks, no, they're not cheeks. I mean, they got that safety from UTEP that's visiting,
or maybe they could be cheeks but not whole. Because I mean, like they, they're past the 2-10 thing. I get it. Like I desire a whole hell of a lot more, but I mean, at least they won more games than they lost. I don't know if I can go all the way to cheeks, but
yeah, I feel like
I agree with everything else though.
I do too. Cheeks to me is like the 2-10 level. I think it's just bad, just bad is where I'm at right now for the football team. But appreciate you, Fishman, for the super chats. He says, will Pittman still be the football coach next time Cal's group hits the court?
Yeah, he'll still be the coach. I'm
gonna get fired for spring
hit
football.
The court, like October or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Is it a bold prediction to say Sam Pittman coaches every game for Arkansas football next season?
No, it's not bold at
all. I
just be viewed as that bold, but I'd say
it's going to happen. Because they've shown that they don't exactly like firing people, in early, unless it's just a dumpster fire. Because honestly, thinking back, the only coaches that have really been fired early of note in the history of Razorback sports was Petrino, but that was something different. Chad Morris and the guy, what was his name? Jack Crow. Got fired after the Citadel.
Curtis, the terminology you used, coach every game, I think is interesting because I think there's a path to like there being an announcement that there's a mutual parting of ways, but Pittman like finished like it's like this comes in like mid-November and they're like, you know what? Let's just coach these last few, win one for the Gipper.
Mm-hmm.
He's like they just make Pittman the interim coach. They're like, you know what? We're firing him from head coach, but he's the interim coach now. See if that tricks him.
That would be a new thing to get somebody to get somebody as an interim coach from a head coach to be an interim coach of the same program. That's impressive.
Do y'all remember that year that LSU, it was like reported that they were going to fire Les Miles and then they beat A&M and then didn't fire Les Miles and then fired him like 3 games into the next year. But like that's a thing that wasn't even that long ago. That's I mean, you know, I could see it low key.
Yeah, they fired the AD Joe Oliva instead of firing Les Miles, and then they ended up firing Emilio.
That's a real. You're a head coach, and you're like, not only should you not fire me, you should fire my boss, and it worked.
and then when you bring someone new in, they'll fire me anyways, and I still get my money. So
you can fire me later, but fire him now.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Randall says, being about to practice with 10 legit players hasn't been talked about enough.
They can run 5-on-5 finally.
Isn't that crazy?
What a concept. What a concept. Also, Fishman says, how many more open roster spots is Cal working with?
Several. I think they're going to add 2, maybe 3 to round it out.
Yeah. Also, Unbiased Brim says, I wonder if Jameer Watkins was on a visit with you in secret play.
No. I mean, folks had Ewin on their cell phone cameras his entire visit, and you can see Jameer Watkins walking around with him, you know.
Yeah, but he was probably, in disguise. He's in the super secret stuff going on.
There's a guy in a ski mask next to him on those golf cart videos.
Yeah. Let's see. Sweet Arkansas gal says, Curtis, are you still sad over Wilkerson? Which is Wilkerson, but still.
Yeah, like I'm gonna be sad that he's not a Razorback for sure, but I'm less sad because he's not going to Kentucky. He'll do well in Indiana.
He will. Whit Calhoun on our Facebook. Hey, we got some Facebook watchers out there. Says, I saw an article that Arkansas and Louisville are falling out of the top contention for Nate Ament. Are you also hearing that?
I think Louisville's been out. Yeah, I don't view Arkansas as the front runner for him right now. Duke, Tennessee, probably up there higher.
And also shout out to our producer, Michelle, says the most watched thing about spring practice was Cal being there yesterday.
That's crazy. That's true, though.
It's true. It's true. Sometimes Michelle comes in from the top rope, and she can drop some stuff in there too. But yeah, I saw that, and I saw a bunch of different videos that were coming out from Cal being out there too. I like the handshake that he did with Pittman, kind of and the hug, all of that. I just wanted to be like, man, somebody could just wrong answers only say what the conversation was, just of what they were talking about in that exact moment. I'd love to know. Because you got 2 coaches that are on 2 completely different wavelengths doing 2 completely different things at that time. Like Kyle's gonna be like, hey, looking good out here, coach, or something. I don't know, but sheesh. Let's see. Also, where was that other chat? Oh yeah. Arkansas said, Curtis, why is seemingly nobody outside of Purdue interested in Liam Murphy out of North Florida? Dude had 104 threes on 42% last year, straight sniper.
Yeah, I'll say that's a lot. I mean, that's pretty close to what Lamar Wilkerson did. And also, isn't North Florida the place that just produced Chaz Lanier? I'm pretty sure Chaz Lanier from Tennessee did this exact same thing at North Florida like this past year. So if that's the case, and it's like you have a dude who just did this from this school and it translated to the SEC and he balled out. The other thing about Murphy, and I'm pulling him up here because I want to make sure I'm right before I say it. Yeah, I mean, he's 6'7", 220 pounds. And it looks like he's a specialist because he hit 100 and some odd threes and he only averaged 13 points. So,
wow,
man,
You said he's 220 pounds?
You know what it says? 6'7", 220.
It's like everybody else in the world.
A game?
Yeah. Yeah,
that's crazy.
I'm 220. Darion Williams is 220. Donald Trump is 220.
Everyone's 220.
There's just some straight up lies being told on these height and weight charts.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, let's get really personal about this. When y'all were at your heaviest, what did you weigh? Like when that you remember in your life, like at your
Wasn't
heaviest?
that long ago.
Yeah, pretty same. But
I was. Michelle would know this because it was right before I signed up and did his fitness challenge thing at her at the gym that she worked at in St. Louis. But I think I was right at 250, my heaviest.
I remember being stunned when I met Curtis because I thought he was gonna be bigger, but you had like just lost a bunch of weight before I met you. I was like, damn, this dude's skinny as hell. Same with Danny West. Danny West started losing weight like crazy around that same time. I met him and I was like, damn. But no, and that was probably when I was my heaviest, when I was about 208, 210. That was probably the heaviest I've been. And I'm like 198 now. So I'm not that far away from getting I'm like one bad weekend away.
yeah, I was disappointed. Most I weighed was about 250, 255 when I was in high school. I didn't weigh less than 200 pounds when I hit 6th grade. That was large. But we'll say I got down to 178 in college, and I think I was anorexic. And now I was really disappointed in myself because I weighed the other day, and I'm 215 pounds. I feel like, I mean, I know it's not about the LBs, but still, it's like, man.
It's a healthy 215, you know?
Sure. Yeah, I'll go with it. Let's see. Also, people are being weird in the chat again. Let's see. Hickory Hawk says, Andrew, have the Hogs homered at the catcher position 4 straight games. That's pretty impressive.
So I don't think they've homered in 4 straight, but they've hit 4 homers in the last 3 games. Because Helfrich hit 1 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, and then Becker hits 1 yesterday. Kind of surprised it took Becker, because Becker hit like 4 or 5 throughout fall and spring. Like he homered, he showed off a lot of power in the offseason. And so it kind of like, he's played a little bit here and there, and he's hit the ball pretty well. He's hitting right around 300. I didn't realize that. Like until I saw it go out, I was like, oh yeah, that's his first career home run. Because it's like I've seen him hit home runs before. I didn't really think much of it, but that kid can swing it, man, for real. And Helfrich, I think's got 8 on the year. I don't think Casey Opitz hit 8 home runs in his Razorback career.
I don't think he did either. Ryan said also, Curtis, assuming Acuff and Wag are at the 1, we still have a hole at the 2, correct? I guess Billy is the answer, but I don't know what his role in primary will be.
Man, I got to introduce you to my good friend Malik Thomas,
McDonald's
All-American 2-guard there. The thing about DJ, DJ and Acuff at the 1, it's not going to be like a 50-50 split there. When I look at that, I think what you're probably going to have is, Acuff playing all of his minutes there, which is going to be more than 20, and then DJ playing the rest that's at the 1, and he's going to play off the ball some as well at the 2. So could you fit someone else in there? We've talked about that a lot on the Pod at the Palace. Like, yes, you could. You just have to spread them across positions. Like you'd have to play the 2 and the 3. I think it would be easier to add somebody for a big role at the 3 and the 4. But yeah, I mean, there's multiple ways they could get stuff like that done.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, you got to account for the lineup that has Carter Knox, Jameer Watkins, Trevin Brazil, and Malik Ewin. You got to account for that. Where Carter would be at the
2. Also, and David says, y'all need to listen to Pod at the Palace more. Put that on a T-shirt. Just, regardless of any situation or what comments have been made, just y'all need to listen to Pod at the Palace.
Here's how I would say it. Y'all need to continue listening to the Pod at the Palace at the same rate after portal season. It's crazy right now because it's throughout the course of the season, it's been consistently really good, like really happy with it and proud of it, but it's been on like steroids since. So my goal is to keep you. So we talk about other things. We still got plenty of portal stuff left to talk about, though.
All it took was the season ending for people to tap in, man.
Yeah, it's crazy how that works, right?
Yeah. And all the people that don't continue to listen, you're bad people. You're bad human beings. And God will judge you for such things.
Think about your choices in life.
Yeah. Think about your future. Let's see. Also, Fishman says, we need Amen if we want to have a legit top 10 roster. I don't know if you have to have him to have that.
There's other pieces there.
Yeah.
It would help solidify you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I don't think it's just like make or break. I don't think it's going to be something like that. But I tell you what, that's actually a perfect little segue into our Alumni Hall question of the day, presented by Alumni Hall. We're going to be there Friday, folks, live at noon there at 3417 North College Avenue. So come and check it out. And also, we're going to be doing a giveaway for an autographed Ben Bybee baseball. That's right. So if you want that, that's going to be happening in Alumni Hall. We'll give the details on that giveaway, but we're going to be there Friday. We got all the Razorback apparel you could possibly want. You can check them out online at insidearkansas.com/alumni hall. And when you come in on Friday at noon, all you got to do is Hogs by 20. Use that code and they get you 20% off, as well as get you in the running for that Ben Bybee baseball giveaway that is signed, sealed, delivered. So check them out today. Again, insidearkansas.com/alumni hall. Use that promo code Hogs by 20 for 20% off. So since that question was asked, I was just curious of putting it kind of like almost like a player in the field. But if for your next portal pop, if you're a Razorback fan, is your heart set on getting Nate Ament, or is your heart set on getting some other transfer portal player? It doesn't have to be specific or anything. And I was feeling like it was going to lean one way, guys. But after putting the question out there, it's pretty insane. 50.3% say Nate Ament. 49.7% say portal player. So, I mean, it's harder to get closer to 50-50 there than who Razorback fans would like to see as their next portal pop or next player added to the roster. So,
wow.
I thought that was pretty surprising.
I'm surprised by that too. I would lean in the other direction, I think, but I'm also, and I've been pretty open and transparent about this, I think, and I hope at least, I'm also a little bit blown away at the amount of people that had just kind of like cast Nate Ament to the side because he's skinny. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The dude's going to be a first round draft pick for sure next season. He's really, really talented and he's skilled and he can get his shot off at 6'10". Like he would be a legit weapon for anywhere that he goes, including Arkansas. I just, I'm of the belief that winning championships, those teams usually have certain characteristics, and it involves older, tougher, more physical players. It's not a name it knock, but I would like to see them maybe go in that direction because you've already got two really talented freshmen that you're relying on. Like to me, it's like if Acuff and Thomas weren't already in the fold, then I'd be looking at a guy like Nate Ament being like, hell yeah, dude, like let's do that. And if they get him, I'm going to celebrate it anyway. I would just rather than get an older guy with more college experience who's been in a power league and played in those games, maybe playing the tournament or something. But I don't know that you'll be able to find anyone that kind of fits that mold of the position that you're maybe looking to fill, who profiles as a better perimeter shooter than Nate Ament. And that, I think, is Arkansas's biggest, most glaring weakness right now. Is a 3-point sniper or 2 or 3.
I mean, I think it's pretty simple. Where if you're guaranteeing me that Arkansas is getting a Jameer Watkins or a Darion Williams, I'm definitely going to lean towards the portal player. But I think that just in general, I'm surprised. I thought I was going to have to sell. Like you said, Curtis, I thought we were going to have to defend Nate Ament because a lot of times we hear that, oh, he's skinny, can't play or whatever. So I'm surprised to hear that this very slight majority would prefer Nate Ament. I think if two players are fairly equal in terms of the production they can give you and their competency, I think you would lean towards the portal guy because he's got that experience, played in the tournament, yada yada.
Well, to me, I think not saying all Razorback fans are this, and I'm not trying to say he's not great, because I think obviously Nate Ament is highly recruited, highly regarded for a reason. However, I think some fans get a little bit too obsessed with the box office vibes, because let's be honest, we may get excited about a big transfer portal get, we may do it, but a Nate Ament get, that sets the world on fire. Suddenly you got all the people talking about, oh my gosh, they got 3 McDonald's All-Americans. They got this guy that was the highest recruit. What does this, transfer portal is big for everybody, and it's an important thing. But the idea of getting a 5-star Nate Ament is just a big deal. It's a social media bomb that suddenly gets you to flex your muscles a little bit. So not to say again that it's not worth it, because he may end up being worth it. But it's more of we go back to the whole thing of getting those wins of the day. I think a win of the day would be either way, getting a Jameer Watkins or whatever, but a Nate Ament just seems to be a little sexier of a name.
I feel you.
Mm-hmm. So anyways, I like the people in the chat that's talking about it and everything. So I like this. There's just a lot.
There's one in particular that's cracking me up, but do
we need to pull it up?
Nah.
Okay. Right.
Actually, no, let's go ahead and do it.
Okay, pull it up.
And to each their own, I guess. But it started here, and I was going to bring this one up just to ask the question, because Woo Pig here says, after doing my homework, I'm not that sold on Ewin. Oh, okay. Anybody could have that opinion. Like, there could be particular things that you look for in a player or whatever that you don't see. But then he says Ewin's highlights don't really pop my eye. I've got to ask you if you watched them, because if there's one thing he is, it's kind of a highlight on the offensive end of the floor. I mean, he's arguably the most skilled big man that was available in the portal, and he was in a power conference. What do you value there? Like, did you need to see like 3-point shooting or something like that? Because and he's not going to bring that to the table, but he's 6'11". He can put it on the deck. He can face you up. He'll dunk on you. I mean, he's got a pretty complete bag there. He's a good passer. And then he said, I trust my own eye before Cal. I know what I'm seeing. And that's just the one that made me laugh. That's all. But it's like, I'm not trying to call anybody out for an opinion. Everybody can have their own, whatever they want. But I trust Cal's eye over mine. That's the only thing I will say. But I just wonder what's missing there with Ewin that's unimpressive or whatever. I think he's a hell of a player.
I think there's something to be said about versatility, and sometimes you want to see the guy that is super well-rounded, can shoot, can score in different ways, but there's also something to be said about a guy that's very huge and very athletic and is going to have 6 can't miss easy shot attempts every single game. Just by being 6'11" with a 38-inch vertical, he's going to have 5 easy looks every single game. And like that brings a lot of stability. It's pretty easy to play around that and to work around that. And so we can talk about, does he need to protect the rim better? Sure. Could he maybe expand his shooting range or whatever? Sure. It's going to be pretty easy for that guy to be effective.
Yeah. Well,
he's their offensive big. They just went and got their defensive big, and we've, we talked a lot yesterday when we were going live talking about both of those dudes that I'm not of the opinion that they have to be done in the front court. Like you've improved your rebounding. You got a guy who you can dump it into who can score it for you. Your pick and roll defense is automatically better. And now if you go get a third guy, get somebody who will block a bunch of shots for you. And then you just kind of got the best of all worlds there. But
well, I feel like whenever that comment was made that he trusts his own eye before Cal, I just assume it's a troll and he's just doing it for reaction because nobody's that stupid, hopefully, in the world. But shout out to our guy, Dre. He says, I don't have to do my homework because Cal already did. Put it on a t-shirt as well.
This is true.
Yes. Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah. Cal knows a little bit. Cal knows ball. People say he doesn't, but he does.
He definitely knows talent. Like we like in terms of like recruiting talented players that can be effective. I would say he's got a decent track record there.
Yeah. Yeah. He's found a way. Austin does have a question though. He says, is there anything to be said about the prep school freshmen that Cal tends to get more than seasoned, like these veteran portal guys?
So I guess if by preps, if you mean like the private school, like the Montverdes or the IMGs and places like that, what I'll say about those guys is they've just consistently played against higher level competition more often. Right. And I think that's one of the reasons why a guy like, Isaiah Sealy or Honor Boateng last year or whatever, best players in Arkansas, but maybe not ranked as high as you thought they would be nationally. Well, it's because nobody can see them. And because they're playing, Farmington or whoever else. No disrespect, but that's a lot different than playing Link Academy or, you know what I mean? So that's part of it. It prepares you a little bit more to make that transition once you get to the college game. I prefer the high school players who play in those settings over like the overtime elite route and everything like that. Cause that is the one, and they've had plenty of success stories. And Carter Knox is obviously one of those guys who's going to be a key piece for Arkansas next year, but it took him a while to make that adjustment and really get settled in. And so with a guy like when you have Acuff versus Malik Thomas, I might look at it and think, well, maybe by the end of the year, Malik Thomas is the better of the two in terms of his impact. But right away, if I'm penciling in who I think is going to be the more impactful, player on opening night, I'm going with Acuff. So just my personal thing. And, Cal knows better than I do, but he definitely also attracts and recruits the highest of high profile guys there. And most of them usually play in that prep or private setting, whatever you want to call those schools. Basically, they can recruit their teams and get the best of the best, and they play each other.
Yeah. And some kids are also just, their skill sets are kind of more college ready, or, maybe they're just mindset, maturity, whatever. Like Anthony Black was at Duncanville, not a prep school. He was just at a very big, very successful public school, but it's like, he just had the right mentality that kind of lend itself to being effective as a freshman. Those guys can be anywhere. But yeah, like you said, there's a little, like when you have the guy like the Moses Moody who went to Montverde, you kind of know this guy's going to come here and he's going to basically be an adult.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that people finally are over the whole like stereotype or whatever. Just like, oh, we don't want kids to go to the prep school and leave their cities, their towns of, Giddy City or whatever it is. Like they need to stay home and they need to develop under the high school coaches here. It's like, no. You're a big time player. You're going to go to big time places, get big time coaching, and go up against great competition. Like that's what you need to do. And so it's just funny how some people look at it that way. It's like, well, Corliss Williamson, he went to Russellville. Okay, well, it's a little different nowadays. That was 30 years ago. Things have changed a little bit. So yeah, it doesn't need to even be brought up in that regard, but still, just always will crack me up with people and feeling that way. And I get it. Like here, maybe in the state of Arkansas, if you see a big time player transfer from one school to another school that's not even a prep school, then maybe you can have an argument. Because I think that was a lot of people saying when Malik Monk transferred from Lepanto or wherever to Bentonville, everyone was like, why? Like, are you going to get that much better competition in the 7A West, than what you were getting down there? So I get it, but prep school kids, all that stuff, it'll be just fine. It'll be just fine. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and keep it moving here on the show, as we got to get into who our heavy hitters are. And I'm sure this will be very baseball driven because I have a few of them there too, but it's all presented by HD Roofing and Construction, where everything can happen unexpectedly in life, right? You never know what's going to happen. And when it comes to your home, you got to make sure your home is always protected. But anytime that it does have damage, especially to the roof, you need to make sure that you get everything taken care of with HD Roofing and Construction. And you can contact them today by going to hdarkansas.com, seeing all the different things that they have to offer, as well as calling them at 501-428-0429. Doesn't matter if it's your home, your business. They do replacements, they do repairs, and they also give you a free inspection with a peace of mind to help you out with that. So for all of your installation needs with the top quality materials, do it with HD Roofing and Construction here in Arkansas. So who the heavy hitters are today. Guys, hopefully the fine folks over at HD Roofing appreciate this, but this is my heavy hitter. No one saw this, at least I don't think, except for me. So I'm going to tell you guys this. Last night at the Razorback Baseball game, it was $2 hot dog night. I'm going to refuse to say glizzy because that just bothers me, but it was a $2 hot dog night. I was walking to the bathroom. I saw a woman.
No way.
I saw a woman that was, she was hefty. No offense. I mean, there's nothing there. She was just a bigger woman. And she was carrying concessions for, I guess, family members or whatever. Guys, she had 3 hot dogs in her shirt. Sitting. Pulling them out. And handing them to people. And while doing that, she was holding 2 different drinks. Looked like some other concession stand items and everything. And she did not miss a beat. I was very impressed by what she was able to do by putting it all together. You always talk about the grocery bags that you're going to make one trip and one trip only from your truck. That's what she did with the concession items, and she got very creative, and she had no shame in it, and she was living life. And that was a thing that fed that family with those $2 hot dogs. And I just wanted to give a shout out. She was my heavy hitter, not because of anything as like in a jokey manner. It's just because I give someone credit who gets creative when it comes to those types of things, and she got creative. So she was my heavy hitter last night, the biggest one. Forget the baseball game. It was about her.
Were the cleavage glizzies like wrapped in foil?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's okay. All right. Good.
Yeah. No, it's just,
just not my story. I need a little bit of clarification to get the full picture here. It seems like John's got a lot of stories that involve going to the bathroom at Razorback events.
I need to stop doing it.
At Razorback events.
Yeah, I mean,
I need to stop doing this. Like, I need to stop. But it was just, I wanted to tweet about it, but I knew people would probably take it the wrong way. To be like, oh, okay, John, you're making fun of this woman. No, I was like, no, I'm not making fun of her. It was just, it was one of those things you just don't expect to see is all. And, since it was $2 hot dog night, got to get those hot dogs out to the fam. And she did. So
Fair
shout
enough.
out to her. That's all I'm saying.
If one was handed to you, would you have eaten it?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. So,
Okay.
yeah, that was
why not? I definitely, I ate 3 and I would have eaten a 4th.
From that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Why not?
It's
wrapped in foil.
Well, it is now, but doesn't mean it always was. So just saying. Anyways, that's my heavy hitter. Try to top that one, guys.
Yeah, you really can't. Shout out to the pro hogs in the NBA.
Yeah.
No, but for real, awesome stuff, man. Anthony Black, Moses Moody, the play-in situation yesterday, and they both got dubs there. So I'm pumped for them. Me and Andrew were talking about this yesterday. It just feels wild to see the Warriors and the Grizzlies in that situation. And I was really wondering how that was going to turn out, but that's cool. The Magic stuff really, it makes me even happier. I'm just such a huge Anthony Black fan, man. I love me some AB, and it's good to see him thriving and doing well over there. So got to give a shout out to those two guys for sure. It is not as cool. I don't know if cool is the word. Not as interesting or wild of a story as the Cleavage Grizzlies, but hey, good on those guys. And we'll I will look forward to watching them on television moving forward more than whatever it is that John saw last night. So
3 for 3 from 3 from Anthony Black.
Yeah, man.
How about that in the biggest game of the year? I'm going to play a video, Curtis, from Moses Moody's night last night, and I know what everyone's thinking. Yeah, Andrew, show us the dunk, show us the cool, flashy play. No, that's not what I got here. Mostly because I couldn't find a downloadable version of it on Twitter. But he did, obviously. I think everybody saw him go viral for the poster dunk. But here's him just clamping up Ja Morant, which he did a little bit of last night.
Morant sizing him up. Lost it, gets it.
Yeah, because it was a nice win for Arkansas, 13-3 last night. And I was also going to say, just the Aloy brothers. For anytime brothers can hit home runs together in a game, it's always a good thing. So I like seeing that. I also want to shout out to Will McIntyre. Big Mac sometimes doesn't get the credit he deserves. And some people just have this. It's almost like he's become the Hudson Clark of the baseball team, where it's just like, you hate him no matter what. It's like, well, his stats are pretty decent. Or nope. He's just getting shelled every game. Guy's pretty good. All right. And he came in and he got you some good stuff. 2 innings, 3 strikeouts, took care of business. All right. So wanted to throw that out there too. And then give Big Mac a little bit of the heavy hitter there for HD Roofing. So, but also I got to talk to Madison McIntyre, his dad, a little bit last night, and I know a lot of people know Madison. And he's just cracking me up. It's like he's like, well, he's the only pitcher that can get the pitch against Georgia, so I mean, better play tonight. Like it's just one of those things, man.
I considered making Madison my heavy hitter because he's been driving all over the freaking United States. I saw him at Baum last Tuesday, and he was like, yeah, I got to drive here for this game, which Will did not end up pitching in last week. Then he had to drive back to Little Rock, drive to Oklahoma, drove back to Little Rock, drove to Georgia for the series, which, again, Will did not end up pitching in, and then drove back up to Fayetteville on Tuesday. So I was glad that Will was able to pitch and pitch very well. Retired everyone he faced. But shout out Madison, man. He's been driving all over the country. He's trying to soak in every last minute of Will's career, which has been an awesome one to follow.
Also, I got to throw this out there too, real quick, of an experience I had. Don't worry, it has nothing to do with hot dogs. Last night, I was at the game, and I'm terrible with names, as you guys know. And somebody came up to me and was talking to me, just like, hey, love what you do, love what you guys do, all that stuff. And they asked me, who do I like better between Curtis and Andrew?
No way.
Yeah, they asked me, and I kind of was just like, that's a weird question, whatever. Anyways, long story short, ended up being somebody you knew, Andrew, and they were just trying to like mess with me. So, but he told me his name. I don't remember who it was. I'll think about it. But anyways, they were just trying to catch me in some sort of thing. I was like, I was probably on recording.
Always trying to pit us against each other, you know?
I know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, doing some sinister stuff, trying to make it like the Avengers or Captain America Civil War around here, you know?
I didn't realize we had snakes in the grass at Baum that were trying to stir some dissension. I don't like that.
Well, I mean, listen, it's your friend, so how do we know that you're not the one trying to, start some stuff?
Clearly he's not my friend, clearly.
Sending in the Trojan horse there a little bit.
I forgot about this. Speaking of last night, check out what I got. You see those things?
Yeah.
You can't really see them. Maybe I'll move them. I'm thinking about moving them over here where on Bombastic they'll be visible. But one of them says something for Montreal, some Canadian, French Canadian word. And then there's one that's it says Aussie, Aussie, Aussie on the back, and then it says oink, oink, oink. On the front, there's a little kangaroo there. It's pretty cool.
Love that. There's somebody out in the hog pen trying to make it Aussie, 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 oink, oink, oink.
I'm pretty sure it says. Oh no, it says oi. I thought it said oink on the sign, but I guess it says oi.
Yeah. Well, you can use some Sharpie. You can fix that for them. All right. So a few more of your chats here, folks. Jeez. Shep says, my heavy hitter today is Woo Pig because he came in the chat swinging. He did do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if that's your heavy hitter, that's cool too. Our guy Trey says his heavy hitter is John Morant's celebrations.
Yeah,
sheesh.
Well.
He's known for that. He's doing good for that, I guess. Because I guess I saw Trae Young got ejected from the game last night for disgracing the game or whatever they tried to say he was doing, making a mockery of it, whatever.
Down 20.
So dumb.
He hit a nutmeg too. He hit a nutmeg down 20 in the playoffs is crazy.
That is true. Let's see. A sweet Arkansas gal says, John, you are always headed to the bathroom. Yeah, that's actually my life. I'm either heading to the bathroom or heading from the bathroom. That's the only time in my life.
Loves it.
Yeah, I'm a big bathroom guy. Let's see. Go Hawk says, just got on. Andrew, I do know your name was just starstruck is all. LOL.
Okay, I almost said something. I was like, there was a guy that while I was walking not to the bathroom. I think I was walking to go get something to drink, and there was a guy that kind of like looked, and he like I could tell that I caught his eye, and then he like looked at me and was like, inside Arkansas. And I was like, yeah, man. And like I could tell he like knew me, but didn't really know me. But apparently he claims he did know my name. Said he was starstruck. I don't believe that though.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, you I saw everybody coming up there for your autographs, taking pictures with you and everything. It's fine. It's cool. Celebrity. I don't know what this means. Ryan says, did John find his Q4 true love, Andrew?
I predicted that you would find your true love in Q4 of 2025, and
that's okay.
You're ahead of schedule. It seems. I mean, you've already got some prospects lining up.
I know. It's just I need to just keep going to the bathroom and at games and Razorbacks arenas and stadiums, and it should be fine. Jeez. Matt says, do you think Cal will bring in on that name?
Onyenso. I'd be all for it if he did. I think it's more of a question about what does Onyenso want to do. Like, is he happy being a career, shot blocking backup role playing big, or does he want to try to drop down to a mid major and get more of a, a featured role, which I don't think would go very well for him because he's really just kind of a shot blocker and that's it. I'd be all for it though. Like I really would. I think it'd be cool. Get yourself a 7-footer who can block some shots, man.
Also, too, people are just being weird about this. Hayden's over here saying, Andrew, humidity doing your hair well. Locks looking luscious and healthy today.
I was wondering if you were going to address those in the chat. There were some compliments being thrown my way, which I don't like to revel in that kind of stuff, but
sucker for
you gotta hear what
flattery.
people are saying.
I wonder if Andrew plants some of these after he planted the friend who was trying to bring us apart. Because as you were telling that story, Andrew goes, "No way!"
Sent the spy to go.
Friend. I just like the
go get some intel.
You're on my radar,
crazy,
buddy.
Curtis. You're throwing out some crazy allegations now.
Yeah, and we're gonna start
the
getting.
plan is already working. Damn it!
John, are you keeping track of how Curtis is being really weird about this? Are you keeping track of this, John?
Yeah, just making check marks here to make sure that I'm doing all that
he's
stuff.
like Ryan from The Office, just sitting there.
Yeah, just sitting there writing it down, checking it off.
Curtis is throwing accusations Andrew's way, unconfirmed accusations,
suspicions.
I'm gonna have to send you guys to HR. We're gonna have to have a sit down meeting here soon. Razor Shark says, Inside Arsenal, will the baseball team get any games in this week? And I hear there's thunderstorms happening. I think they will, but it's Saturday's the only time it's supposed to rain, but everything else would be fine.
Dude, and I understand that weather's crazy around here. And look, it was crazy for the Missouri series. Every week it's like, oh, dude, they're not going to play any games. I'll be surprised if they even show up at Baum this weekend. They might as well cancel. Like people were tweeting at me like as the game was, not tipping off, first pitching off, and they were like, what happens if the entire series doesn't happen? Do we just make it up another day? I'm like, dude, they're literally about to play. Like they're going to get at least 2 games in. I'd imagine probably 3. Now it is tough because they cannot play on Sunday. Although it does look like Saturday and Sunday it's gonna rain. Maybe they do a doubleheader Friday, which would kind of suck. But they're gonna play games. Don't worry.
Either way, Bombastic will be there. It'll be there for you,
of course.
Yep. All right, so we got about 20 or so minutes here, folks, and there's a lot of headlines that we want to get into, and some hump day headlines, if you would, but we also get to your chats, and it's presented by our friends over at BetSaracen. It's #1 sports betting app here in the state of Arkansas by far. It's not even close. There's no reason to download any other apps because the other ones are just garbo compared to what BetSaracen is going to give you. So be sure to download it today on your iPhone or on your Android, or you can go to BetSaracen.com and get the winning that way. Specials all the time on Arkansas games. Really games and sporting events of any kind, anywhere, anytime, any place. So check it out then at BetSaracen.com. A few things real quick, guys. This was a big one. Arkansas lost a player today in the transfer portal in football. Does anybody?
Quentin Murphy? You talking about Quentin Murphy?
Yes.
We will remember the Quentin Murphy era fondly. I need you to help me though, John, because I'm sure after doing this, you Googled him and all that. Is this the kid that was a quarterback / receiver?
Yes.
Listed as like an athlete? Yeah.
He was from Parkview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pittman said something yesterday in his press conference where he was like, the people we're hearing about transferring are not high up the depth chart. Which Pittman is a depth chart. He's loyal to the depth chart. You remember we referenced that about Crutchfield? He's like, oh yeah, I mean, nobody on the depth chart. He's big on, if you're not on the depth chart, don't talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns out Crutchfield's not on the depth chart on the current team either, which is crazy. But if you look at the receiver room though, they've got way too many. I mean, they probably it's crazy because there at least was some talk a week or two ago. I don't know if that's still a thing or not. Like they would want to go add some help at receiver, but to do that, they've got to get rid of some. I mean, it looks like they need to probably, lose 2 or 3 there to get down to a number that makes sense. I think they got like 14 or something. It's kind of crazy.
And you got wide receiver 1, Jordan Anthony. He's not even out there right now, so you got to account for him. And I say that jokingly, but seriously, he is going to be a guy that's probably in their top 6 or 7. And so there's not a ton of spots to go around.
No. Well, I saw that, and I hate to be this way, but it's just the way that college sports are in landscape. When I saw that, I'm like, who? I just didn't, because I did not know especially in football, when there's literally Arkansas is getting 35 players out and 35 players in. It's hard to keep up with them. So I was just like, all right, best of luck to you.
Yeah. I know Quentin Murphy was a big receiver, SEC receiver entering the portal, but did y'all see the other pretty notable SEC receiver enter the portal? Micah Hudson.
Did see
that
that.
kid from Texas Tech who had all the rumors about he had his list of demands and he needs to have a car for every day of the week. He needs to whatever. And I think he was a 5-star that caught like 7 passes last year as a freshman. He is already transferring from A&M. So quite the roller coaster of a career he's off to 15 months into his collegiate career.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I want to pull this up real quick too. And I think it was Trey actually that I heard say this, but that Jordan Anthony might actually just stick with track.
Oh, so he's not going to come back for
and not be on the football team next year. Yeah, because I mean he's like breaking records and stuff. Like he's really good at it. He might put his full focus into that. Which
interesting. Yeah, I knew he wasn't practicing all spring because last year he did both in the spring. I knew he wasn't doing both in the spring. I guess I didn't realize that he like really might be done.
Just pulling a Connor Nolan, being like, I'm actually better at this sport, so I'm gonna stick with this one. And
I mean, hell, he has been crushing it. He's been every time I hop on Twitter the last few months, I've been seeing him doing something.
Yeah. And speaking of that, this is another fun little development. I know you alluded to a little bit earlier, Andrew, but this whole Nico,
Maliava.
Thank you. He, of course, is making headlines all over the place, and according to some GMs in the SEC and whatnot, everyone's like, yeah, he's got no market. This dude's not getting any money. Like, I don't know what's going to be happening there. Well, On3 was reporting it earlier that UCLA is holding strong on its offer to Nico, which is significantly less than $4 million that he was asking. But apparently the relationship has remained strong with the family because of Madden, who UCLA was blindsided. This is their quote on his decision to flip to Arkansas on National Signing Day. So they've stayed in touch. So I'm not saying Arkansas is catching strays, but it is kind of funny to see like the biggest story, because Arkansas has not really had any big stories at all this spring football season. But the biggest story that Arkansas has been a part of is something they literally have nothing to do with. And that is the biggest story in college football being named of the quarterback to the brother of the guy that's causing all the headlines. So
it is just ridiculously funny and ironic. That would be one hell of a story if he wound up over there. It really would.
It would.
Chapel Bill backed out.
I know.
And Tulane backed out.
And that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think Bill Belichick's girlfriend said, nah, we don't want him.
You mean the girl who's getting CC'd on all the emails?
Yes.
For a position or whatever that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Well, North Carolina is really big on creating things that don't exist. They do classes that don't exist, and now they're doing, positions.
Somebody was on I wish I remember who it was, but somebody was comparing her little fake position or whatever there to giving your kid the controller when you're playing the PS5, but not having it turned on. They think they're playing, they think they're involved, but they're not.
Giving her everyone's fake emails. She's like emailing the secretary or whatever about this. It's like, oh yeah. We'll get your email later.
Yeah, when I saw her outfit and she was walking around and all of that on the practice field, I just sit there and I'm like, if I'm a college football player, I'm like, what is happening? Like, what are we doing here? Like it looks almost like a like Friday Night Lights on steroids type stuff, like television things, like or what was it? Any Given Sunday when the Cameron Diaz like took over the team and was like, oh, it was like just her walking around. But even up to that to another Annie, it's strange, man. It's strange.
Everything that happens in sports these days kind of leads back to pro wrestling. Like there's just a very pro wrestling feel to all of this.
Yeah. Cease and desist. Give the flowers over there to the WWE. So yeah, crazy story there. We'll get to your chats here in a second, but I do want to play this video, guys. This is big time. We always talk about who's the best at what and all that. Cam Ward, though, was live streaming on Fortnite. And
I haven't seen this.
And he was asked about he thinks the top 4 wide receivers are in the NFL. Well, let's just go ahead and hear from him in this Fortnite video game.
So you already said Ridley, Jamar, Justin.
I think Jason Jamar is like the top.
And then for my last one, Traylon Burks. And that ain't.
And by the way, he was asked who the top 4 running backs in the league were, and the only 2 names he came up with were Tony Pollard and Tajee Spears.
Wow.
As you would imagine, the number 1 and number 2 running backs for the Tennessee Titans, Traylon Burks and Calvin Ridley. Later in the video, I think he said AJ Brown, he's a dog, but he's no Calvin Ridley.
That's electric.
It was great.
I didn't know where that was headed. Traylon Burks. That's
for context, people in the chat, the Tennessee Titans have the number 1 overall pick, and Cam Ward is at this point like a minus 500 favorite to get drafted by the Titans. So that's a smart man there. Even on Fortnite, you're not going to catch him slipping.
I love that.
You know what sucks though about it is, of all those comments and players he made, the one that got the most headlines and the most ridiculous nature is like Traylon Burks. Like there was that one. I was like, man, that stinks. Like I hate that. It's like all the other ones are ridiculous too, but it's like, oh, Traylon Burks. That's the most absurd one. But sad for our boy Traylon. Can't stay healthy.
Good. That's a good sign for Traylon's future that his new QB thinks he's thinks that highly of him.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, I'm saying that jokingly, of course, but like it's at least something. He is going to be playing with the guy most likely, so might as well get in good with the new kid.
Yeah, and we'll get to your chats. Last one though, I wanted to bring up. I just wanted y'all's thoughts on it, and we don't have to spend too much time on it. But what do you think about Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders having their numbers retired at Colorado? Travis Hunter, 100%. Yeah, right. I mean, I get that he's a Heisman winner.
Yeah, I'm not that upset about it because I'm not very well versed on Colorado football, but like I don't know how many players have been more impactful than them in the past. Hell, they may have won 10 national championships back in the day. I don't know, but I don't think about Colorado football and think, man, the players that have come out of there. I'm sure that there are a good number of NFL guys and dudes who had good careers or whatever, but I'm not too upset about it.
Let me throw this one to you. Darian Hagan, who won the national championship with Colorado as the quarterback in 1990, who went 28-5 in his time and was the 6th player in NCAA history to pass and rush for 1,000 yards in the same season, as well as being 2-time first-team All-Big 8 selection, as well as an All-American, does not have his number retired.
Well, maybe they should.
I was stunned. Cordell Stewart / doesn't have his number retired. He was awesome at Colorado. What's that dude on FS1? Joel Klatt.
Yeah,
I think he went like 8-4 there one year. Could have retired his number. But in all seriousness, I don't like. I'm kind of with you, Curtis. Where like I don't really care what Colorado does. They can feel however they want to feel about their own players. But I think like we've talked about this a lot. How many times do we talk about retiring Arkansas numbers, and we're like, people just don't do that in college football. Yeah. So given that context of like how rare it is to retire numbers in college football, and even at Colorado, where like we said, they haven't retired all these awesome players' numbers, it is kind of crazy. And I mean, it's just weird only because we know exactly how they did it. Deion just probably strong-armed somebody into doing it. Deion, who might leave in a year.
Yeah. Well, see, that was the only thing and again, we'll move on because we'll get to the chat, but that was my thing of just every school has their own standards of what they do and expectations for that. But when you do retire numbers, then you set that expectation of what it is. And it's like Travis Hunter, okay, guy won a Heisman. You're telling me that Shedeur Sanders is like the worthiness of that is on the same level. And it's just like he went 13-12 as a quarterback. And like it doesn't make sense. So, if you want to retire numbers, don't retire numbers, whatever it is. But if you do, you set a standard, you set a precedent. And that means all the things that come along with it follow suit. And so I don't know. I just feel like it's completely, because if you're retiring Shedeur Sanders, then you need to retire so many others if that's the case. So.
The one thing I will say in their defense is that they really completely reignited football at Colorado. I mean, like the attendance has been crazy. Like just they brought so much popularity, and that's really what this is all about. You know what I mean? Of course, both those guys are really good players. I mean, Travis Hunter was unbelievable, of course, and Shedeur Sanders, who I agree, maybe not a jersey retirement, but I mean, I think he finished like 8th in Heisman voting or something like that. Like good players, but like it's more about the impact of kind of what they've done for the program. And so I get it from that standpoint, because I do think that's relevant. I mean, Colorado was nothing 2 years ago, and they are a very prominent program, but it is just like the only thing that makes me weird about it is because I know how that happened, and I feel like it was probably a decision that they felt like they had to do.
Yeah, the program impact aspect of that is important, which is why I think Sam Pittman deserves his statue out front.
We are moving on. Stop. I'm not even going to address that. I'm not even going to look at it because it's just going to turn into a cesspool.
Telling him to turn the jukebox on.
No. Stop. Oh man. All right. So chats, how about that? Let's get into that too a little bit. Logan comes in. He says Marfo for Augustov, which, yeah, by the way, Augustov entered in the portal from Colorado.
Well,
so
Retire his number, by the way.
bring him back.
He's Colorado for a while, but he's Arkansas.
Mm-hmm. Bring him home. Bring him home back to Arkansas.
Hey, we'll never forget that 80-yard touchdown run Isaiah Augustov had in that scrimmage last year.
Yeah.
Great. It was one of the few wins that Arkansas had in the offseason.
He had was it the Missouri game that he was pretty good in, and the
he got some carries down the stretch. FIU, he cooked on
FIU. That's right.
Yeah, because they were just like, because Rocket ain't playing, AJ Green, none of those guys were playing, so they're like, yeah, we'll just throw it to the freshman and let him go, and he would end up being all right. Let's see. What the world is going on here? Yeah, Ryan's coming in and saying, is Curtis really 36? I heard this multiple times yesterday and didn't believe it.
I said it.
And then luckily Michelle comes in and says, yes, Curtis is 36, LOL. So
I wonder if he thinks you're younger or older.
good question.
No.
Answer that one, Ryan. Yeah, answer that one. See what you think. No, we're not going to skip over Michelle's comment. Like, we just got to it. Come on now. You got to wait. We got to wait a little bit. Kate, because Kate says Curtis looks like he's aging backwards. Some Benjamin Button stuff, I guess.
I've been told I am the modern day Benjamin Button. So
you are looking young. You're looking
spry. That feels like a compliment. Thank you for that.
You are Brad Pitt.
I need that now before dad mode kicks in a few months. And look, I haven't slept in years, and
I can't wait for Curtis to pudge out again.
Ain't happening. I gotta try to get I was about to say shredded this summer, but that ain't gonna happen. But in decent shape this summer, because there's gonna be a time period there where things get a little bit dicey,
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say that if you need to get some P90X DVDs and just do it from home, go down that road again. Man,
I got access to all that. When your wife is a beach body coach or whatever, you got plenty of exercise options.
Yeah. I was about to say, it's like you just watch her Instagram videos and you'll probably have a workout routine in no time.
That's it.
Let's see. Only Caleb wants to know, Curtis, have you replaced the blown up stove glass? Also, anyway, too early, LOL, starting 5 for the basketball team.
The new oven it's en route. Like, it could be here any minute now. And I'm just glad it didn't happen during the show, because the dog would be going nuts. But yeah, the new oven is being installed today, and I'm going to try to talk my wife into going out to dinner to celebrate it. So, that's where I'm at with it. But no, I'm happy that's happening, because we haven't had an oven for, it's almost been a week now, and it does complicate things when you're trying to make dinner, because I'm not a big microwave dinner type of guy. So it's been a lot of air fryer, some crock pot. We got a toaster oven we've been trying to figure out some stuff on. So it'll be nice to be back in business on that standpoint. Early starting 5 with the guys that they have. DJ, Carter Knox, Billy Richmond, Trevin Brazil, Malique Ewin.
Final 4. Book your tickets. Indianapolis. They'll be there.
Get those young freshmen out of here. Earn your spots.
A-Cup, go grab some pine, kid.
You got to earn your keep around here. Like, it's like Cal said, these young guys, they're going to have to come take it from some of the older guys. Until they do that, you're not in my projected starting 5. I don't care what type of All-American you are. McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, don't matter to me.
First practice, you definitely got to have the older guys out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after I watch them one time, I'm like, all right, yeah, get Thomas and Acuff in there. This is crazy.
Yeah. Well, be sure to tell Michelle, it's Wing Wednesday. So, we can celebrate.
Oh, yeah.
Never do that. Or the grand opening of El Mezcal, our friends over there off of the Square, is happening today too. So
I'm going to a Mexican restaurant tonight. I don't want to tell you guys where I'm going, because it's such a cool place, but I don't want anyone else to know that it's cool. I don't want anybody else to show up.
You're going to Casa Bonita, aren't you?
No.
Oh, yeah. All right.
You're going to Fayetteville Taco and Tamale, aren't you?
No. And I'm going to stop answering yes or no to these questions, because I want to stop it, but I can't confirm those first two are incorrect.
Okay. Oh, Casa Bonitas, there's none around here anyways, but yes.
I didn't know what that was. I just,
Oh, you don't know a Casa Bonita? Okay, well, we could spend time talking about Casa Bonita another time. It's like the Chuck E. Cheese of Mexican restaurants. Let's see. Heartbroken Hog says, I would be a little starstruck meeting y'all, LOL, but I would remember your names. Why?
I don't think you'd be that starstruck. I think
Have y'all-
you see us in real life and you'd be like, these.
I
they
want to
look
ask
a little.
I want to ask y'all this because I know people have come up to y'all too. Like, has there ever been someone that's not in a bad way, but just like you can tell they're a little like nervous talking to you? Like, has that happened to y'all yet?
When it's like
No.
kids, when it's like someone who's like, you know, the dad is like, oh, hey, my kid, you know, wants to meet you or whatever. The kids are always like shy around adults.
Okay. Yeah. I had that happen. I think it was during the basketball season. And the guy kept apologizing. And I felt bad for him. Like, it was like, dude, just chill, man. It's like, he's just like, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to bother you. I'm so sorry to bother you, dude. I just don't. I mean, I know you got so much going on. I'm like, I am sitting here with my Coke Zero watching a halftime show that I don't want to watch. Like, it's not that big. But anyways, I just didn't know if there'd ever been someone just drop dead nervous to even be in your presence as if you're like, you know, from
Only the women.
like, I'm not the Pope.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
only women. Yeah.
No, not at all. What I get a lot is the don't want to keep you. I know you're busy. I know you're super busy. I'm like, I'm really not.
Yeah, I promise you I'm not.
I'm definitely not. Please hang out. But
Yeah. Shout out to our guy, JP Sullivan for the super chat. Appreciate it, man. Says, yesterday morning while watching Pot at the Palace, I turned and looked at my girlfriend, said, Pringle and Ewin are going to pop today for my birthday present. A few hours later, boom, reason to strut, fellas. Well, happy birthday, JP, from yesterday.
Yes. Yeah. Are you
Oh,
aging
no.
backwards?
Everybody is aging backwards here too.
The double pop was interesting. Now they could have gotten Ewan first, and I would have been like, might as well go ahead and announce Pringle now. But there was right before we started the live reaction for the Pringle thing. You know, me and Andrew were in the stage before we went live, and I was like, there's no way that, you know, like Ewan told him to.
Ooh, that can't happen
So
with
they were
football,
like Pringle, like announce now. So it was good that they both popped yesterday. But
that happened like 5 times with football where we were like kind of prepping to do like what was that running back from? I can't remember, from Texas State, Mahadi or whatever.
Ishmael Mahadi. Yeah.
We were ready to go live for him, and then we got the Mike Washington announcement, and we were like, oh, we were kind of ready to go live for that Alabama wide receiver, and then we went live for Raylan Sharp, and we were like, oh, and it happened like 3 or 4 more times.
Let's see a few more chats here too. This is getting really funny. I'm going to bring these up because it's funny. Michelle says, sometimes I'm starstruck by Curtis too. So how about that?
That's crazy talk.
How about that, man? Let's say
Just
don't let
outright
him,
lying on the show. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
don't let him get too many followers on Twitter, and you may never see him again. Let's see. Gimp Walk says, I saw Seawilk at neighborhood, and he ghosted me after reading my shirt.
I wonder if this is the when my oven exploded and I just didn't have what I needed, and I was like, I gotta get out to the neighborhood market because I need a dustpan. So I went out and get a new broom and dustpan. And I was like running around, and somebody stopped me. I don't know if it's this person or not, but it was like, oh yeah, Inside Arkansas, love your stuff, listen to your stuff. And I was very much in a hurry, but I was like, oh no, thank you, appreciate it. And then bolted out of there. So
what was his shirt? Did he have a weird shirt?
That I don't know.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Hopefully he'll let us know what his shirt said. It must have been something very offensive then that he knew Curtis would have a big issue with.
I don't know.
Let's see. Dre says, I was nervous when I gave John tickets and accidentally sat in his seats. Haha. No, you shouldn't have been nervous about it. It was just a misunderstanding. It was one of those things where we both had the same tickets, but yet we both got in to scan our tickets. I didn't think that was possible. So, but no, it worked out because you were very gracious of saying, hey, let me buy you 2 other tickets that are right smack front row in the middle of the court. So thank you for that, Dre. But shouldn't have been nervous for that. It happens. Super chat. Angular water, whatever. Yeah, he says, John, Aaron Torres gave you a shout on his episode where he announced Arkansas got Ewan and Pringle. Oh, well, I'll have to say thank you to him. So the big pig invasion, as he always says, is that what he says? That nothing can stop the big pig invasion? That his thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Kingsley also says, my route back from Houston is taking me through College Station. Throwing up emoji. I told Houston you said, what's up, though, Andrew?
I appreciate that. You should go do something, disrespectful to the Texas A&M baseball facility. Just go in there and just stink it up, and leave them a little going away present as they're about to travel to Fayetteville.
Yeah. Take a pee in their bullpen. That's what I hear. That is the most egregious thing you can have. Let's see. Mike and M says the name Curtis being screeched woman in the movie Maximum Overdrive is what I always hear. I've never seen that movie.
I've not seen it, but
I have to go check it out.
I'm gonna have to put on the soundboard if it's a good one. Never screaming Curtis. Camo Gang says 35 today. Hey, happy birthday, Camo Gang.
Hey, yeah. Birthday.
Yep. And also, I don't know what this means, Mike and him. You're on one, man. He says, John going to start wearing silk scarves like Elvis did to hand them to all the girls trying to catch his eye on his way to the bathroom. I guess, I don't know if Elvis did that or not, but I'm going to take your word for it. So, no.
It's oddly specific to not be true. So,
has to be. Yeah. It's like, I don't want to give too much credit for that, but yeah, that's something. That's something. You know, the thing is I always know that any story I say like that is going to have a reaction, but that's one of those things where I'm like, you know what, I need to stop bringing up things that happen to me on my way to the bathroom, because, you know, it's going to be to the point where I'm going to go to games and be like, hey, John, you on your way to the bathroom? You see any chicks? Like, no, haven't done it. Have not done it. So anyways, all right. Well, guys, final thoughts on the day today?
Nope. I'm all good.
Okay.
No, got a fun weekend preview edition of the Bombastic Podcast about to come out. Series starts tomorrow, so everybody lock in. Big one.
There you have it. It's going to be a great one, and we appreciate each and every one of you listening in, watching in, and subscribing in to what we have at Inside Arkansas going on right now. Again, we're going to be at Alumni Hall on Friday, so come by and see us starting at noon. And we're almost there to that 10,000 mark on our subscriber list, and that means a lot to us. It really does. So if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so. Get us that 10,000 mark. Who knows? Maybe we'll give you guys something in return. You know, we'll play it by ear on that. But either way, we appreciate each and every one of you and your support for us. And we're going to keep it going. You can go to our website, InsideArkansas.com, for all the latest, greatest, up-to-date information. Also on social media at Inside Arkansas. And you can also download our audio podcast wherever podcasts are found, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live, Pod at the Palace, or the Bombastic Podcast. So for Andrew Ellis, as well as Curtis Wilkerson, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel, tomorrow at noon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you then.